The Milky Way was old, powerful, and arrogant. For thousands of years, great alien empires ruled the stars. The towering Xyrian Imperium, the cold Valdar Dominion, the calculating Rokal Technate, and hundreds more. Their fleets moved like steel storms. Their weapons bent space. Their politics shaped galaxies. And among these superpowers floated a small blue world. A young species. Weak. Divided. Late to the galactic stage. Across the galactic networks, humans were a joke. Alien talk shows laughed at human ships. Alien academies used humans as examples of primitive potential. Alien officers joked that humans will last one war. Maybe. The Xyrians mocked human biology. The Rokal mocked human engineering. The Valdar mocked human emotions. Yet none of them truly understood what slept beneath humanity's simple smiles. Not yet. The story began when the United Terran Alliance, newly accepted into the Galactic Council, sent a small diplomatic cruiser named HFY Horizon to attend a council session on the planet Vora Prime, a massive city world where all empires met. Human diplomats expected respect. What they got was humiliation. As the Horizon landed, towering aliens walked past without even glancing at the humans. Xyrian nobles whispered mockingly, "Tiny creatures. Soft bones. Short lives." Inside the grand hall, the council speaker announced, "Humans shall be observers only. Their votes carry no weight." The hall erupted in laughter. Humans quietly took their seats. But something dark grew in their eyes, not anger but memory. Humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, world wars. They had clawed out civilization from pain. They would survive this too. Hours later, the meeting erupted into chaos. A massive shockwave hit Vora Prime. Holograms flickered. Sirens blared across the hall. Commander Tarek of the Valdar shouted, "The Shroud Legion is attacking." They breached the planetary shield. Panic spread. The Shroud Legion, biomechanical monsters from beyond the galactic rim, never attacked core worlds. No one knew how they bypassed defenses. No one reacted fast enough. Except the smallest faction in the room. Humans. Captain Elena Reyes rose, her voice cutting through the screaming. "Terran vessels are ready. Give us authorization to deploy." Valdar generals scoffed. "Your ships are toys." Rokal scientists sneered. "Your weapons are chemical fire. Meaningless." Xyrian nobles laughed. "Send the monkeys outside. Maybe they can distract the Legion." Human diplomats exchanged a look. Elena spoke 2 words. "Deploy everything." Outside, the sky burned red as Shroud ships rained down beams of corrosive plasma. Alien civilians fled. Defenses crumbled. The Horizon, small, outdated, ugly compared to alien starships, lifted off. Alien commanders laughed through the comms. "Human ship, fall back. This is not your fight." Elena replied calmly, "It is now." For the first time, the galaxy saw something they never expected. Human unpredictability. The Horizon accelerated to impossible speeds, flying between collapsing towers, dodging plasma bolts by meters. Its hull glowed from stress, but it pushed harder. Then humanity revealed its secret. "Arm the Zeta Lance," Elena ordered. It wasn't a plasma beam. It wasn't antimatter. It wasn't hyperspace energy. It was something worse. A weapon born from humanity's constant innovation. A particle compression railburst engineered from scratch because humans couldn't afford exotic alien weapons. Primitive? Yes. Unstable? Yes. Devastating? Absolutely. The Horizon fired. A solid spike of magnetically driven tungsten ripped through a Shroud cruiser like a spear through paper. The alien monster ship exploded in blue fire. Silence filled the comms. Even the Xyrians stopped laughing. Elena spoke. "Humans adapt." The galaxy watched in shock as the smallest ship on the battlefield became the deadliest. But the Legion was vast. Dozens more ships arrived. As they descended on Vora Prime, the aliens screamed for evacuation, and for the first time in galactic history, they called for human help. The sky above Vora Prime turned black as the Shroud Legion's assault intensified. Their ships, twisted biomechanical leviathans, released swarms of corrosive drones that melted hulls and devoured metal. The great superpowers of the galaxy scrambled to respond, but their coordination collapsed instantly. Xyrian warships attempted to form a defensive line, but their pride made them slow. Valdar dreadnoughts tried to charge their antimatter cannons, only to find their systems jammed. Rokal ships retreated to analyze the threat, abandoning millions below. The planet screamed. And yet, amidst the chaos, a single ship moved with purpose. HFY Horizon. Inside the bridge, alarms blared, sparks flew from consoles, and the crew held on as the ship shook violently. Two Shroud interceptors closing fast, Tactical Officer Yui shouted. Evasive pattern Sigma 4, Captain Elena Reyes commanded calmly. But that maneuver is... Do it. Humans didn't hesitate. They didn't freeze. They acted. The small Terran cruiser twisted between skyscrapers, dropping so low that its engines scorched the rooftops. Alien civilians watched from windows as the human vessel screamed past, drawing the Shroud ships away from evacuation zones. Commander Lauren of the Zirians couldn't believe her eyes. By the stars, they're using the city as cover. Her aide clicked nervously. That is suicide, my lady. Lauren stared. That is human. On board the Horizon, Yui gritted her teeth. We can't shake them. Then let them follow, Elena replied. Prepare the aft mines. The crew nodded in grim understanding. Humans didn't have fancy quantum missiles or dark energy torpedoes like the other species. What they had were simple, vicious weapons that worked. Shaped mines, industrial explosives wrapped in metal, built in shipyards that smelled like sweat and rust. The interceptors roared closer. Now, Elena ordered. The Horizon dumped a string of crude charges behind it. The Shroud ships fired at what they expected to be plasma mines, energy-based, predictable. But these were solid explosives. The alien fire ignited them instantly. A chain of brutal, fiery detonations ripped the Shroud interceptors apart. The blast shook the entire city. Alien spectators stared in awe. The Horizon didn't stop. Meanwhile, in the Grand Council Hall, alien leaders debated in panic. We must negotiate with the Shroud, cried a Rokal scientist. The Shroud devour all. Negotiation is pointless, a Valdar general snarled. Then surrender the outer districts, a Zyrian noble snapped. They are lost anyway. Human diplomat Jonah Hale slammed his fist on the table. Millions live there. We don't abandon people. The room fell silent. Valdar General Tarek scoffed. Humans speak of honor? Jonah glared at him. Honor? No. Responsibility. A quiet voice came from the rear, an elderly Kelleran ambassador. Perhaps, we have misjudged humanity. Everyone fell quiet. Jonah leaned forward. Let us join the defense fully. Give us clearance to deploy our hidden fleet. Alien eyes widened. You have no fleet, a Zyrian noble mocked. Jonah's voice grew dangerously calm. We do. Above the planet, hundreds of Shroud ships broke through the last orbital defenses. Planetary shields faltered. The city melted beneath the bombardment. Then a new signal appeared. A small wormhole opened above Vora Prime. Followed by another. And another. A voice echoed across the comms on all channels. This is the United Terran Alliance 3rd Expeditionary Wing. All ships form battle grid. Protect Vora Prime. Alien admirals gasped. Dozens of Terran warships ripped out of hyperspace. Fast, brutal-looking vessels built with human practicality. No shining curves. No gold plating. Just steel, angles, weapons. Zyrian Commander Lauren whispered, Impossible? Humans had no warp-capable fleets. Jonah Hale's voice carried through the council hall. You never asked. In orbit, the battle ignited. Human destroyers launched volleys of railburst rounds, old-fashioned kinetic slugs fired at impossible velocities. They punched through Shroud armor like meteor strikes. Terran frigates swarmed like hunting wolves, coordinating with perfect precision. But the centerpiece of the fleet was the human flagship, Titanus. A monstrous ship built in secret, armored like a fortress, engines modified for mining reactors. Admiral Zara Kincaid stood on its bridge, eyes sharp. Target the Shroud command vessel. Fire the Helios array. Her second-in-command hesitated. Admiral, the weapon is untested. Zara replied, so were humans. The Helios array fired. A blinding beam of superheated plasma, human-made, unstable but devastating, tore through the enemy mothership. The explosion lit the sky like a new sun. Every alien fleet witnessed it. Silence followed. For the first time in galactic history, humanity led the charge. Yet the Shroud Legion was far from defeated. Dozens more warships descended. Massive carriers opened, releasing abominations the size of buildings. Valdar General Tarek finally shouted across the comms. All forces, follow the Terrans. Form a united line. Alien fleets fell in beside the humans, unthinkable hours earlier. On the Titanus, Zara stood tall. Humans, allies, prepare for full counteroffensive. Elena Rhea's voice echoed from below. For Earth. For everyone. The galaxy watched as humanity, mocked, underestimated, dismissed, became the shield of Vora Prime. The first strike had begun. But the war was only waking. The battle for Vora Prime raged across the sky like a storm of fire and shadows. Human ships fought alongside alien vessels for the first time in galactic history, forming an unlikely defensive wall around the city-planet. Shroud Legion carriers opened like monstrous flowers, releasing swarms of unnatural drones that shrieked through the air. Valdar dreadnoughts unleashed antimatter arcs. Zyrian battlecruisers fired shimmering void lances. But the spine of the defense, the force holding everything together, was humanity. Something the galaxy never expected. On the bridge of the UTA Titanus, Admiral Zara Kincaid monitored the chaos with steady eyes. Every console flickered, every officer shouted updates, but her voice cut through everything. Keep the formation tight. Terran Grid Alpha, maintain pressure on the forward line. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Orion Malik, pointed at a growing cluster of enemy vessels. Admiral, multiple shroud carriers are slipping toward the planet's north pole. If they land? They won't, Zara replied. Bring the Helios array online for a targeted blast. But Admiral, cooling systems won't handle another. Then we'll deal with the heat later. Fire. The Titanus unleashed a blazing spear of molten energy. It sliced through the vacuum like a solar eruption, tearing a line straight through 3 shroud carriers. The resulting explosion lit the battlefield in gold and blue. Alien comms erupted in disbelief. Lauren of the Zirians whispered over the channel, "Humans built this thing?" General Tarek of the Valdar snarled, "That is no warship. That is a planetary hazard." Jonah Hale, listening from the council hall, replied, "Humans don't build pretty toys. We build what works." Meanwhile, on the ground, the UTA Horizon landed amid ruins and screaming crowds. The city burned. Towers collapsed. Shroud ground forms, hulking, twisted shapes made of flesh and metal, stalked through the streets. Captain Elena Reyes stepped out with her squad, activating her visor. "Spread out. Protect evacuation corridors. Keep civilians moving." Her team, just 20 Terran Marines, moved like a single organism. They placed portable shield generators, guided civilians, and fought off any shroud creature that got too close. Valdar soldiers watched in stunned silence. "These humans, they fight like they have nothing to lose," one whispered. A Kelleran medic corrected him. "No. They fight like they refuse to lose." Above, the battle reached breaking point. A massive shadow fell over the battlefield. A new shroud vessel emerged from hyperspace, a colossal dread beast known as a Rift Harrower, its grotesque body pulsing with dark energy. Its arrival sent shockwaves across space. Even the great empires had only seen such ships at the galaxy's edge before being forced to flee. Alien admirals lost their composure. "We cannot face that. Retreat is our only option. Pull fleets back." Then Zara Kincaid spoke, voice like iron. "All ships hold position. Humans don't retreat today." Her calm defiance froze the retreat orders. Commander Lauren answered after a long silence. "Zyrian cruisers, maintain position." General Tarek followed reluctantly. "Valdar dreadnoughts, prepare to fire alongside the humans." For the first time, the galaxy united around a species they had mocked. The Rift Harrower roared, firing a massive gravitational beam that ripped a Rokal destroyer in half. Its debris spiraled into the void like dust. "Helios can't handle that thing," Orion warned. "We need something stronger." Zara stared at the Rift Harrower. Then at the Titanus experimental systems. Then at her crew. "Prepare the Skybreaker protocol." Engineers froze. "That was never meant to be used. It's incomplete. It could tear us apart." Zara spoke with the tone of a woman who already accepted the cost. "If we don't use it, the galaxy dies anyway." Down below, Elena Reyes saw the Harrower looming overhead, its gravitational waves shaking buildings. She tapped her comm. "Elena to Titanus, whatever you're about to do, do it now. We're out of time." Her voice trembled, not from fear but from exhaustion. They'd reached their limit. Zara answered softly, "Stay alive down there. We will handle the sky." The Titanus engines roared. Panels opened across the hull, revealing coils of glowing energy. The ship trembled violently as unstable plasma gathered for release. Orion shouted, "Power levels critical. Hull temperature rising fast." Zara didn't blink. "Fire the Skybreaker." The Titanus unleashed a blast of condensed energy so bright it rivaled a star. The beam struck the Rift Harrower squarely, pushing it backward, tearing through layer after layer of its grotesque armor. The Harrower fought back, projecting gravitational distortions that cracked the Titanus hull. Sparks exploded across the bridge. Alarms screamed. Zara stood unshaken. Push harder. The beam intensified. Then, with a scream like the tearing of reality, the Rift Harrower split apart. A shockwave rippled through orbit, throwing ships off trajectory. Alien fleets watched in stunned silence as the impossible happened. Humans had slain a galactic nightmare. But victory had a price. Sections of the Titanus burned. Engines overloaded. The Skybreaker array shattered. Orion whispered, "We're alive. We actually did it." Zara exhaled for the first time in minutes. "Signal all fleets. The Harrower is down. Begin counteroffensive." Alien admirals responded with renewed fury. Xyrian fleets advancing. Valdar legions pushing forward. Allied forces rally around the Terrans. A tide shifted. For the first time ever, the galaxy followed humanity. Yet as the Shroud forces faltered, something darker stirred beyond the rim. The Legion was changing tactics. This battle was only the beginning. Humanity had won the turning tide. But the true storm had yet to arrive. The burning sky over Vora Prime slowly faded from red to gray as the Shroud Legion fell back. Wreckage drifted in orbit like metal bones. Alien ships and human vessels formed a loose defensive shell, stabilizing the situation. The United Fleet stood victorious for the moment. But victory brought unease. The Rift Harrower's destruction released a subspace shockwave detected across half the galaxy. Strange readings spread across sensors. Gravity twisted. Energy fields pulsed in unnatural rhythms. Space felt wounded. Admiral Zara Kincaid stood on the Titanus cracked bridge, staring at the jittering star map. "Whatever we killed wasn't a command ship," she whispered. "It was a door." Orion Malik swallowed hard. "A door to what?" Zara didn't answer. Human diplomat Jonah Hale stood before the Galactic Council, its chamber cracked from battle tremors. Alien leaders, bloodied, shaken, silent, listened as Jonah spoke. "We saved Vora Prime together. But the Shroud Legion will return with something worse. We need a unified front." General Tarek snarled, "Are you suggesting humans lead us?" Jonah stepped forward, calm and firm. "No. I'm telling you humans must lead." Gasps echoed. The Xyrian nobles hissed. Rokal scientists shook in disbelief. A glowing hologram displayed the rift's readings. "This cosmic scar is expanding," Jonah continued. "If we don't act now, every world here will be gone." Lauren of the Xyrians rose. "What do you propose, Terran?" Jonah's eyes hardened. "A council of war. Joint fleets under shared command. And one spearhead force, a fast, adaptable strike group." Tarek laughed harshly. "And who shall lead this force? Humans?" Jonah simply replied, "Yes." The chamber erupted once more, but the seed was planted. The galaxy had seen what humanity could do. Meanwhile, Captain Elena Reyes and her Marine squad escorted civilians through collapsing districts. Harmonic distortions rippled through the air as the rift's shockwave unsettled the planet's core. A young alien girl cried as her home crumbled behind her. Elena kneeled. "Hey, look at me. You're safe now." The girl looked into her visor. "You're a human. They say humans are scary." Elena removed her helmet, revealing tired, gentle eyes. "Maybe. But we're also here to help." The girl hugged her. "I'm not scared anymore." Valdar soldiers watching nearby were stunned. Their species saw compassion as weakness. But here it was, protecting their people. One murmured to another. "These humans fight monsters, and then comfort children? What are they?" Hours later, a sudden tremor shook the city. A massive hologram flickered open in the sky, patchy, distorted, emitting unnatural static. A voice rumbled across Vora Prime. Not a scream. Not a roar. A whisper. "Intruders of flesh, your struggle is noted." People froze. Soldiers dropped their weapons. Even children stopped crying. The voice continued. "You close our gate, but the rift remains. We are many. We are awakening." Elena felt her blood turn cold. "What is that?" On the Titanus, Zara listened with clenched fists. "The Shroud High Mind," Orion whispered. "The one controlling everything." The voice shifted into a deeper tone. "We will consume the galaxy. And humanity will be the first to fall." The hologram snapped to black. A long, suffocating silence followed. Then Zara spoke a single sentence that echoed across all comms. They just made a mistake. The aftermath of the battle left most alien fleets crippled. Their pride was shattered, their technology questioned. For centuries they had believed themselves superior. Now the galaxy whispered a different story. Humans saved Vora Prime. Humans slew a rift harrower. Humans wounded the Shroud. Humans stood when others retreated. In distant star systems, alien cultures debated the Terran intervention. Some were amazed. Some were afraid. Most were confused. But one faction was angry. The Valdar Dominion, humiliated by their reliance on humans, secretly gathered commanders. "We cannot let their influence grow," General Tarek snarled. "If humans lead the war, they will one day rule us all." A Valdar strategist clicked in agreement. "Should we sabotage them?" Tarek nodded slowly. "Not yet. But we watch. Humans rise too fast. They must be controlled." Dark intentions grew in the shadows. Jonah Hale soon gathered the greatest minds of Terran leadership, along with alien representatives willing to cooperate. A new war plan formed, the boldest in galactic history. Stage 1, stabilize Vora Prime. Stage 2, track the rift expansion. Stage 3, form a united strike fleet. Stage 4, find the Shroud's origin world. And Stage 5, destroy the Shroud High Mind. Alien leaders murmured fearfully. "That is suicide. No fleet has ever reached the rift beyond the rim." Zara Kincaid entered the chamber. "That was before humanity. We make impossible things work." Elena Reyes stepped in beside her, armor scorched. "And we finish what we start." Jonah looked around the room. "Who stands with us?" One by one alien leaders rose. "Lauren, the Zyrian Imperium stands with the Terrans." Kelleran Ambassador, "We as well." Rokal Technate, "We shall lend our science." Only Tarek hesitated, eyes burning with quiet jealousy. Finally he spoke. "The Valdar Dominion will join." Jonah nodded. "Then we begin." But as plans formed and hope rekindled, far beyond the galactic rim, beyond even the rift's edge, a colossal shape stirred in the void. The awakening had begun. The Shroud Legion was preparing something the galaxy had never seen. And humanity, new, underestimated, stubborn humanity, would soon discover the true scale of the war they had stepped into. The shadows of the rift were only the beginning. The galaxy recovered for only 3 days. 3 days of patching hulls, burying the dead and arguing in war rooms. 3 days of fear. Because beyond the rim, the rift continued to grow, an expanding wound in space pulsing with unnatural energy. Scanners across hundreds of systems detected repeating fluctuations like a heartbeat growing stronger. Admiral Zara Kincaid stood aboard the repaired UTA Titanus, now leading a formation of mixed alien and human cruisers. The bridge was shadowed by dim red lights, the hum of damaged reactors, and the restless tension of a crew preparing for the unknown. Orion Malik stared at the rift projection hovering above the table. "It keeps changing shape, Admiral. Like it's alive." Zara nodded slowly. "Because it is." A silence fell over the room. While the fleets prepared, humans gathered intelligence rapidly. They spoke with refugees from rimward colonies, decoded old abandoned Shroud transmissions, even studied dying Shroud creatures for clues. What they discovered chilled every species. The Shroud Legion wasn't invading. They were migrating. Fleeing from something deeper in the void. Something older. Something stronger. Jonah Hale addressed the council again, voice firm. "We must enter the rift. If we don't take the fight to them, they'll overwhelm the galaxy one system at a time." The Kelleran ambassador trembled. "Entering the rift is suicide. No ship has returned." "Then it's time one did," Jonah replied. Lauren of the Zyrian stood proudly. "My cruisers will follow the Terrans." Rokal scientists murmured nervously. "We will assist from orbit." All eyes turned to General Tarek of the Valdar. He rose slowly. "We will join the fleet." But in his eyes, envy smoldered like a quiet fire. The Allied fleet leaves the galaxy. The combined fleet assembled above Vora Prime, over 200 ships. Human destroyers. Zyrian cruisers. Kelleran stealth frigates. Even reluctant Valdar dreadnoughts. But the spearhead was human. In front of the armada, the Titanus shone like a steel titan, scars glowing from emergency repairs. On the ground, crowds of aliens gathered, watching in awe. Are the humans really going? They're insane. They're brave. No, brave is too small a word. Captain Elena Reyes boarded the Horizon, now upgraded with alien shields and human weapons fused together in ways no one believed compatible. Her second-in-command, Marcus Vale, asked nervously, "Ever think we'd be leading an armada into a living wound in space?" Elena smirked. "We've done crazier things on Earth." As the fleet aligned, Zara gave the final command. "All ships, prepare for rift entry." Engines roared. Hulls glowed blue and red. Energy fields crackled. The rift loomed ahead, an endless storm of swirling black and violet, like a cosmic hurricane. Crew members whispered prayers. Some held lucky charms. Others just stared numb. Zara spoke over fleet-wide comms. "Humanity has been underestimated for too long. Today we show the galaxy what humans do when pushed." She paused. "We push back harder." The Titanus surged forward. One by one the Allied ships followed. The galaxy watched the armada plunge into the impossible. Inside the rift, the moment they crossed the boundary, reality vanished. The stars disappeared. Light stretched. Colors bled. Sensors screamed. Hull plating vibrated like a tuning fork struck by a god. Orion gasped. "This place is wrong." Zara steadied herself against the captain's chair. "Stay focused. Keep formation." In the horizon, Elena and her marines strapped in as gravity fluctuated violently. Marcus whispered, "I think the rift is alive." "It is," Elena replied softly. "This is the belly of a beast." Suddenly the rift calmed. The distortion faded. And an impossible sight appeared. A massive expanse. A hidden star. A graveyard of alien ships drifting silently, thousands of them. Ancient hulls. Unknown designs. All torn apart by something huge. Roll scientists shouted over comms. "These wrecks are millions of years old. This place is a cosmic battlefield. No galaxy records show these species. This is prehistoric." Lauren whispered, chilled. "So many civilizations, erased." Human officers exchanged glances. "If the Shroud did this," Marcus muttered, "what are we up against?" Zara answered quietly. "The Shroud didn't do this." The truth revealed. A signal burst through the rift. A pulse. A frequency. A message. Jonah Hale on the Titanus decoded it. His face turned white. "It's not a warning," he whispered. "What then?" Zara asked. "A cry for help. The ancient civilization that once lived here. They created the rift. A desperate shield to contain something far worse. But the shield weakened over eons. The Shroud Legion was not the enemy. They were running from the enemy." Before Zara could speak, the void trembled. A shadow appeared. Massive. Endless. Unnatural. A being far larger than the rift harrower. It moved like a planet-sized serpent made of dark matter and bone. Its presence crushed minds. Systems fried. Drones shut down. Even the Shroud, hidden in crevices, fled in terror. Orion whispered the only word anyone could form. "God." Zara stood straighter. "No. Not a god." Her voice hardened. "Something that thinks it is." The creature opened its colossal maw. Reality itself shivered. The rift began collapsing. Alarms blared across the fleet. "Admiral. It's pulling us in. We can't escape. We need a miracle." Zara clenched her fists. "No. We need humans." The final battle for existence had begun. And humanity was standing at the front. The rift roared like a cosmic storm as the colossal dark matter serpent rose from the void. Its body coiled through torn space, each movement bending light and ripping gravity apart. Entire starship hulks drifted helplessly toward its gravitational pull, crushed into dust by invisible pressure. Every alien officer froze in terror. Every monitor flickered static. Every fleet formation shattered. But not the humans. Admiral Zara Kincaid steadied her stance on the Titanus trembling bridge. Hull alarms blared. Sparks rained. Energy readings climbed past red limits. "Report," she shouted through the shaking. Orion Malik stared at the sensors, face pale. "It's generating a singularity field. It's not pulling us in, it's rewriting space around us." Zara exhaled slowly. "So it's not killing us. It's replacing us. A death worse than destruction. Erasure." The creature speaks. A voice boomed across the rift, not sound but a vibration inside every mind. A cold, ancient thought. "Fleshborn, you trespass in the cradle of my slumber." The fleets trembled. Some soldiers clutched their heads. Others screamed. Only the humans, scarred by centuries of psychological warfare, trauma, resilience, held their ground. On the horizon, Captain Elena Reyes gritted her teeth. It's trying to break us mentally. Marcus' veil trembled. Then it picked the wrong species. Elena smirked, even as blood dripped from her nose. That's right. Humans break last. The battle begins. The dark serpent opened its maw, releasing a blast of gravitational distortion. Entire alien ships were crushed instantly, imploding into nothingness. Zyrian cruisers collapsed like paper. Valdar dreadnoughts spun out of control. Kelleran frigates shattered into silver dust. The Titanus shook violently. Hull breaches on 4 decks. Reactor temperature at critical. Zara slammed her fist onto her command chair. All ships, fire everything. Human vessels responded instantly. Railguns unleashed storms of high-velocity tungsten slugs. Plasma turrets spat molten light. Missiles streaked toward the creature's void flesh. The serpent's skin cracked under the impact. Alien admirals gasped. Rocal scientists stuttered. How are humans damaging it? Our weapons did nothing. Lauren of the Zyrians answered, voice shaking. Humans build weapons meant for survival, not elegance. Tarek of the Valdar whispered darkly. They fight like they were born for extinction. Inside the rift's heart. The battlefield warped as smaller shroud beasts fled from the serpent's presence, terrified. The legion that once threatened the galaxy now skittered in the shadows like insects avoiding a torch. Jonah Hale connected the pieces. They weren't invaders, he muttered on the comms. They were refugees, hiding from that thing. The entire council fell silent. Jonah continued. If this creature reaches the galaxy, everything, every empire, every world, ends. Lauren clenched her jaw. Then the Terrans must guide us. Jonah didn't hesitate. Zara. Execute the Omega plan. Orion spun. Admiral, that plan will destroy the Titanus. Zara stared forward at the massive creature. If we survive, the galaxy survives. Start charging. The Omega plan. Deep inside the Titanus, a hidden reactor hummed. A prototype singularity stabilizer built by humans using scavenged alien scraps, Terran creativity, and an unhealthy willingness to ignore risk. The plan. Compress a microsingularity and detonate it directly inside the serpent's core. Not outside. Not around it. Inside. Only one ship could carry it. Only one captain could deliver it. Zara clenched her fists. Prepare the Titanus for collision course. Gasps filled the bridge. Orion grabbed her shoulder. You'll be killed. Zara smiled softly. Orion, humans don't run from monsters. He swallowed, eyes shining. No, Admiral. Humans hunt monsters. Elena Reyes gambit. Meanwhile, Elena Reyes realized the Titanus couldn't get close. The serpent's gravity storms were too strong. We need to punch a hole in its field, she muttered. Marcus stared. With what? We're out of missiles. Elena nodded. So we make one. She grabbed a device from the armory. A human invention. Unstable. Experimental. Rejected by alien militaries as too primitive. A portable fusion lance. Elena strapped it to her armor and jumped out of the horizon. Marcus screamed. Elena. No. Her boots ignited, propelling her through zero gravity toward the massive gravitational storm. Alien fleets watched in disbelief as one human soldier drifted toward the cosmic serpent, carrying a weapon no one else dared use. Elena aimed. The lance ignited. A beam of blinding white energy tore through the gravitational field, carving a clear path. Zara seized the opportunity. Titanus, go. The final run. The Titanus roared forward, engines screaming. Hull plates melted. The ship twisted under impossible pressure. Zara stood tall at the helm. This is for Earth. For the galaxy. Orion saluted her through tears. For humanity. The serpent lunged. The titanic ship plunged straight into its open maw, engines blazing with their last breath. Zara activated the Omega core. A whisper escaped her lips. Do not underestimate humans. A blinding explosion consumed the void. The serpent screamed, its first and only scream, shuddered violently, and began collapsing in on itself as the singularity detonated inside its core. The rift shook. Space trembled. The creature dissolved, collapsing into nothingness. Aftermath. Light returned. Gravity normalized. Silence filled the rift. Human and alien ships drifted, shocked, alive. Elena Reyes floated in space, exhausted, staring at the fading glow where the Titanus once stood. Marcus' broken voice came through the radio. Elena, it worked. But Elena whispered the truth through tears. Zara, she saved us all. The rift began to close. Humanity had slain the impossible. But at a terrible cost. The battle that would change the galaxy forever began in silence. Deep in the void surrounding Xyrian Prime, the human fleet drifted like a black storm on the edge of reality. No lights. No signals. No sound. Just the quiet, steady heartbeat of millions of human minds preparing for the greatest fight their species had ever faced. Admiral Reyna Sol stood at the center of ESS Horizon Spear, surrounded by glowing holomaps of enemy formations. The Xyrian Empire's armada circled its capital planet in layered rings, shields, cannons, dreadnoughts, and thousands of fighter wings. It was the strongest fortress in the known galaxy. Commander Varric of the Xyrians once said humans would never dare come here. Tonight humanity was here. And they were done being underestimated. The last warning. A massive transmission lit up across the fleet. Varric's blue, scaled face appeared, twisted with contempt. Humans, he hissed. Turn back. You are insects. You cannot defeat 1,000 years of perfection. Surrender now and we may let some of you live. Admiral Sol stepped forward, calm and sharp as a blade. Commander Varric, she said softly, for centuries you mocked us. You called us emotional, fragile, chaotic. But here is our truth. She leaned closer. Humans adapt. Humans endure. Humans evolve. And tonight humans win. The transmission cut immediately. Varric was furious. The first strike. Humanity moved first. Thousands of stealth drones launched, cutting through space like silent metal wolves. They carried no explosives, they carried viruses made of pure code. As they reached the outer shield rings they released their digital payload. Xyrian shields flickered. Then dimmed. Then collapsed entirely. Panic erupted across the Xyrian communication channels. Impossible. Their viruses should not penetrate. Reboot the shield core, now. Humans can't do this. They are centuries behind us. But the humans could. They already had. Admiral Sol raised her hand. Forward. The human fleet ignited. From thousands of ships, thrusters roared like the breath of titans. Human battleships surged ahead, unleashing rail cannon fire that tore through the nearest ring of Xyrian dreadnoughts. Explosions bloomed like blue suns across the void. The galaxy, watching via hundreds of hidden broadcasts, went silent. The Empire strikes back. Then the Xyrian Empire counterattacked. Colossal ion beams fired from planetary towers, slicing through space with devastating power. 3 human cruisers were vaporized. Swarms of alien fighters launched, surrounding the human fleet like metallic locusts. The battle became chaos. Human captains shouted orders. Pilots burned through evasive maneuvers. Laser storms lit the darkness. Yet through all the destruction the humans pushed onward. Not with brute force. With strategy. The secret human weapon. Deep within the fleet sailed an unremarkable ship. Small, old, barely armed. Most aliens wouldn't give it a second glance. Inside it, Dr. Elias Ward activated a device that no alien believed humans could ever build. A gravity inverter. Humans called it Project Avalanche. Ward looked at his team. Once we trigger this, there's no going back. The scientists nodded. They were pale, trembling, but determined. Do it, Ward said. The device hummed. Reality bent. Suddenly, gravitational currents around Xyrian Prime twisted like a storm. Alien ships were yanked from formation, colliding with each other. Battleships drifted helplessly toward the planet. Fighter swarms scattered. Nothing like this had ever been seen in recorded galactic history. Admiral Sol watched the chaos unfold. This, she whispered, is humanity's answer. The fall of Varric. On the central dreadnought, Varric roared in rage. How? How do humans do this? A human strike team burst onto the bridge. Captain Eric Vale stepped forward, armor scorched from battle. Varric, he said, leveling his plasma rifle. Humans were never weak. You simply never bothered to understand us. The Xyrian commander lunged with a cry, but Vale sidestepped, letting the alien's momentum carry him forward. With one strike of his electrified blade, the battle ended. Varric collapsed, disbelief frozen in his eyes. Humans, impossible? No, Vale replied. Just underestimated. The surrender of the Empire. When Varric's signal died, every Xyrian ship across the system received the message. The humans had taken the capital. The humans had defeated their strongest commander. The humans were victorious. One by one, Xyrian ships powered down weapons. Engines shut off. Shields lowered. Generals surrendered. Civilians across the planet peeked from shelters, expecting fire and death. Instead, they saw human medics landing to help the wounded. They saw soldiers distributing food to terrified children. They saw humanity not as conquerors, but as liberators. The galaxy bows. Days later, the Galactic Council convened. Where once representatives laughed at Earth, today they rose to their feet in silence as Admiral Reyna Sol entered. The oldest counselor spoke. Humanity, you have shocked us, you have changed us, and you have saved the galaxy from tyranny. From this day onward, Earth shall hold a permanent high seat in this council. And no species shall ever underestimate humans again. For the first time in galactic history, the room applauded humans. The final message to Earth. Back aboard Horizon Spear, Admiral Sol broadcast a message to her home planet. We fought. We survived. We proved ourselves. The galaxy mocked us, until humanity struck back. And today we stand not just as Earthlings, but as a force that shapes the stars. Cheers erupted across Earth. Billions cried, celebrated, and looked upward at the sky with pride. Humanity had risen. Humanity had triumphed. And the galaxy would never forget it.